What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here with another episode of the Premier League SPUR-SPECTIVE. The scores on the doors so far are 33-27 to myself with a 6-point gap. The gap is getting closer every week though. Simeon, he doesn't have a smile on his face right now, but I know he's got a smile on inside as he's getting a bit excited with pulling it back.
Why are you talking for me? I'm saying I'm getting excited.
I'm your older brother, so I feel like I feel the need to sometimes.
If I'm going to get excited, I'll say I'm excited.
Excited?
But I'm getting closer. I'm not going to get overboard. I'm getting closer, though. That's all I'm saying.
All right, well, let's get into this week where we run through the 10 games of every Premier League weekend. We give our Premier League predictions before that. So those are the scores. It's 33-27. Let's get into the first game, which was the Friday night game, Wolves against Leeds. It finished 1-0 to Wolves. I predicted 1-1. You predicted 3-1 to Wolves. So I tell you what, though, this game was definitely not in your favour. I know the scoreline was in your favour, but the way the game went, my days. Leeds, how they did not score is beyond me. I have no clue. They should have won that game. Never mind drawn it. Never mind lost. They should have won that game. I thought Leeds were brilliant. I
know I didn't actually watch the game, unfortunately, but I thought Wolves might get a result in this game. I just had a feeling. You say Leeds are better, fair enough. But they didn't get the goals, so I get the point. Yeah,
I mean, like that whole second half, Leeds were just battering Wolves. They get a goal. Bamford was like a hairline offside, Bamford.
Oh, you're talking about Leeds goal, yeah. I saw that, actually. Another ridiculous decision.
Hairline offside, so I should have got a goal. Anyway, I should be getting 5 points in this game, but the way football goes, you get 1 point, so that's it. 33-28 to me.
It was unlucky, the own goal.
Yeah.
Great strike by Traore, but that keeper doesn't get any luck at the moment, Meslier.
Yeah, I know. Let's move on. Southampton, Chelsea finished 1-1. I went 2-0 to Chelsea. You went 2-1 to Chelsea. But finally, we're seeing Chelsea drop some points.
Yeah, I thought Southampton would definitely score in this game. I thought Chelsea would have enough to win, but Southampton well worth a point, I felt. Minamino has made a really good start to his Southampton career.
Great goal.
Yeah, really nice goal. Really composure 100 really with that finish outside of the boot, sitting Mendy down. Didn't know how to deal with that situation, Mendy. And Minamino did really well. They did pull a goal back. Mason Mount, who I thought had an excellent game. He's been the only one recently with Chelsea who's really stood out. I felt Mason Mount. He's been brilliant, and I thought it was brilliant again yesterday against Southampton. And but there was a really curious incident with Hudson-Odoi, wasn't there? Who came on at half time and then got taken off half an hour later for a tactical reason. Tuchel said, which is very strange.
Tuchel was talking about how he didn't like what he was seeing from Hudson-Odoi in terms of working hard enough. So I think that was the reason for it.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. But it's like very curious. You don't usually see that from managers. I remember with Moyes Keane last year under Duncan Ferguson with Everton. He got brought on for like 10 minutes then went off. But it's not Hassam Ghali, very famously, and then he threw the shirt and never got seen again. I'm happy about that. And so that was one of the incidents, and it'll be interesting to see how it's perceived, because if that's Mourinho, people would accuse him of being toxic and everything like that if Mourinho did something like that ilk. But because Tuchel's new and he's very early in the job, he'll probably get the benefit of the doubt for those kind of incidents for the time being. But look, I think those drop points have been coming for Chelsea. I'm not surprised they drew at all to Southampton. I thought they've been pretty decent since Tuchel's taken over. They haven't been amazing. They haven't completely revolutionised the way they play football.
They've just bored teams to death with their passing.
Yeah, and I thought Southampton worth a point.
All right, let's move on. Burnley against West Brom finished 0-0. I went 1-0 Burnley and you went 1-0 West Brom, but the game ultimately finished 0-0.
Yeah, and if you say the Leeds game wasn't in my favour, this game definitely was not in your favour, because West Brom battered Burnley even with 10 men. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was watching this game, and even with 10 men now, chance after chance after chance, and they just couldn't force it in the back of the net. Diagna was the main culprit for missing chances. He had a 2-on-1. He had Pereira to his right, and he was 1-1 with the keeper. He squares it, but he squared it behind Pereira, who had to shuffle back and then get the shot off, and it was cleared off the line by the time he was able to do that. And West Brom will feel like they're unlucky, but unfortunately draws don't do much for them at the moment. So looks like they're on their way down.
I would say that West Brom were the much better side with 11 men, with 10 men, 100%. I think they were having chance after chance after chance, but I always felt Burnley could have got a goal in that game, and I felt that 1-0 either way. It could have been easily 1-0 either way.
Yeah, and especially if Burnley get the first goal, West Brom were definitely struggling big time. And the red card as well was another VAR decision with a handball from a goal scoring opportunity. I thought it was slightly harsh, but I guess if it was against Spurs, I'll definitely want the red card. So
I think it was a red. I do think it was a red.
Does he deliberately move it? Did it hit his arm or deliberately move his arm towards the ball? Because there was another incident in that game where Carl Bartley's in the box and he very, very clearly handles the ball. It's such a clear handball. The referee didn't. Yeah, I saw it. The referee didn't give it, and VAR didn't even check it. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was looking at the replay. I was like, "This is the clearest handball you've ever seen." The ball, literally controls the ball with his hand inside the box. I couldn't believe it. And they didn't give it. It is what it is.
All right, let's move on. Liverpool against Everton at Anfield. The Merseyside derby finished 2-0 to Everton. You went 2-1 to Liverpool. I went 2-2. But look, Liverpool were just shocking, weren't they?
Terrible. Barely had a thing all game. Even Everton, obviously they won the game and played well, but it's not like they dominated or they had loads of chances. They got an early goal and they sat back and then they got the late clincher right at the end.
Yeah, I felt that Liverpool came out of the block second half and tried to make stuff happen. Mane having a few chances, first 15 minutes, but ultimately, when they failed to score in those first 15 minutes, it just reverted back to what it was like the first half, really.
Yeah, they seemed to run out of ideas. You felt like they had to score when they were on top to carry on that momentum. But look, Everton won. I don't think Everton were amazing. Defensively, they were good, but I didn't think they were incredible. They just played well. They played well. Liverpool were completely short of ideas and they didn't know what to do. And I felt like it was a deserved win for Everton and it was an impressive win. But I think it was more to do with Liverpool lacking any sort of attacking ideas than it did Everton being unbelievable.
I mean, their first win at Anfield for 22 years or something.
Well, look, that's 4 losses on the trot for Liverpool in the league and at Anfield.
Yeah.
So they're really struggling at the moment to overturn that slump. But do you think it was a penalty? Was the one at the end where Calvert-Lewin gets fouled by Trent?
Well, he was just on the floor and Calvert-Lewin just trips over him. I don't know. I don't think so, man. I really don't think so.
I don't think it's a penalty.
I mean, what could Trent do there?
Nothing.
What can he do?
But apparently they've taken intent out of the law, so...
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit similar to that David Luiz one a few weeks ago, and he can't do anything about it either. So, I mean, he's just running and then he gets clipped. I mean, Trent Alexander-Arnold is literally on the floor.
So he has no intent whatsoever. He's already made the challenge, yeah. So, look, I think it's harsh. But it was one of those where I feel like if it wasn't given, VAR doesn't overturn it. It's just the fact the ref gave it and the VAR didn't think it was clear and obvious, so they just gave the penalty.
Yeah, it wouldn't have made a difference to the end scoreline in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
Moving on, Fulham against Sheffield United. The last game on the Saturday finished 1-0 to Fulham. I went 2-1 to Fulham. You went 2-0 to Fulham, so we both gained a point there. 34-29 now. Did you watch this game?
I did, and you know what? Fulham, 3 points off the relegation spot? If anyone's going to save themselves, it looks like they're going to be the ones at the moment because they're in really good form. They're not losing games without either getting points or scraping wins. The wins are starting to come bit by bit now for Fulham after a run of good performances, but not many wins. And good goal by Lookman.
And with Newcastle and Brighton losing this weekend as well.
Exactly. It's a massive result for them. And they've maybe even Brighton getting dragged back into it a bit because they're only 4 points clear now after they looked like they were going to be fine. So Fulham doing really well. They've got to keep plucking away. They clearly got a very good team. We got them coming up soon, which I'm not that happy about at the moment. But
I think Scotty Parker's doing a really good job. I really like him as a manager.
Yeah, he didn't start the season really badly, but he's turned it around really well. And if they keep going this way, I think they will be safe at the moment.
And that's what good managers can do, because you got to look at their squad and say they don't really have a Premier League squad there. They've got a bit of a Championship squad there. And the way that Scott Parker's turned it around, and they're playing some nice football while they're doing it as well. So you got to commend Scotty Parker and the job he's doing there. Yeah,
and at the moment, we'll get into Newcastle in a minute, but they're they're in complete freefall, and Fulham the way they're going, it looks like they could be okay if they keep going the way they're going.
Yeah. West Ham against Tottenham, 2-1 to West Ham. We both went for Tottenham wins. I went for 2-1. Yeah. I went for 2-0. You went for 2-1. So we'll quickly just breeze past that result.
No points either.
Aston Villa against Leicester finished 2-1 to Leicester. I went 1-1. I think you went 2-2. So I mean, it could have been either. We were 1 goal away each, both of us. But yeah, you got to commend Leicester for the way they're just plugging away.
Fantastic stuff. I watched the game. Well, we're watching it a bit during the fan show, And Leicester 2 clinical goals. I think actually both goals Martinez could be doing a lot better in both of them actually. And I think he'll be disappointed with both those goals. The first one, he gets a good hand to Maddison's shot, but it trickles into the net. And the second one, he parried it straight to Harvey Barnes, and he scored. So, Martinez, he's started to make a few mistakes recently. You got the 1-2 against West Ham as well, where Lingard scores 2 and he should have saved both of those. All of a sudden, the mistakes are clogging up, but Villa did get a goal back, and
I don't see anyone coming out in the press saying he's done like they're talking about Lloris.
Exactly, even though it's a very similar situation. So I know he's got a great season, Martinez, so I'm not going to start bashing him. Exactly, that's what I was going to say. Up until a few weeks ago, Lloris was having a great season, so it's just interesting how narratives are portrayed. They did get a goal back for Bertrand Traore. Obviously, although the very interesting thing about this game is the whole Grealish situation. Did you hear about it? So he was injured, but it was leaked. The injury, because 24 hours before the game, it was leaked that that he was injured. The news, but do you know how it was leaked? It was leaked because the Aston Villa players play fantasy football. And all of them took him out of it. Took Grealish out of the team.
We had this a few weeks ago with a certain team. I think it was Villa as well, wasn't it? A few Villa players took out certain players, or was it Southampton? I can't remember.
I think it might have been Villa. Yeah, I think it might have been Villa as well.
And that was a few weeks ago. And they took out Grealish and someone out of the team, but they all ended up playing that weekend.
All I know is apparently that's what's happened. It was leaked because of that, and apparently.
But you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. I know you're talking about.
The same thing happened.
I know what you're talking about. I'm just saying. I'm telling you the context now. They're not happy about the whole situation. Apparently they've ordered the Villa players to stop playing fantasy football because they don't want any more team news to be leaked. And I'm just saying we should normalise. You know how like everyone forensically analyses like players' social media and stuff, and they like look at every little like and retweet and whatever. Why aren't we doing the same with fantasy teams? We should be looking at every single transfer a player makes.
Is it easy to find these players' transfer teams out?
Yeah. I think it is.
How do you do it?
I don't know. There's ways. There's leagues and stuff. They're all in. You can find it. It's not hard to track down.
Can you search leagues on Fantasy League?
Yeah. I don't know how, but you can. I'm sure you can find it. I'm sure it's not hard to find. If you do a bit of digging, it won't be hard to find. We should all be looking at all the transfer. I want to see who's first players to bring in.
If any of you detectives are out there, find me a league where all the Tottenham players are in. Yeah, just find me a league. I want to see that. I want to see the changes every week.
But do you think that's right? They should be banned from playing fantasy football because of all this nonsense?
I think they should be banned from picking their own team.
Probably.
That's what I think they should do.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but just fine. Yeah.
And it's a bit ridiculous to ban them from the whole game, but I think they should be banned from picking like their own players.
Yeah, it's just funny this whole situation. They're picking because
Dean Smith's had enough of fantasy.
He's had enough, and he's been leaking team news. But it's interesting. Anyway, that's the incident there. But look, good way with.
But there's another way you can look at it. They can like play mind games with the other team. They can take out Grealish when he's not actually injured.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they did a few weeks ago.
I feel like that's what Mourinho would do if he had a fantasy team. He'd be taking out Kane every week. He's not going to play. He's injured. All
right, let's move on. Arsenal against Man City. Finished 1-0 to Man City. We both went 2-0 to Man City. So scores on the doors are 35-30. Man City just never got out of first gear, did they?
Yeah, they got the early goal and they just rested on it, and Arsenal didn't really do anything. The closest Arsenal got really was when Cancelo nearly he did an outside of the boot volley towards Ederson, and Ederson had to volley it away. And that was literally the closest Arsenal came. They didn't really look like threatening, and it was a deserved win for City, but although they'll probably feel a bit uncomfortable, it was only 1-0. They're literally leading for like the whole game 1-0 because it was in the first couple of minutes they scored. But they keep plugging away, and they've pretty much they're not far from having the title wrapped up at this point. Really not far off.
Yeah, I mean they're head and shoulders above anyone in this league at the moment.
Yeah,
they really are. You got to say that at 1-0, obviously it's a dangerous scoreline leading that till the end of the game, but Arsenal hardly laid a glove on Man City the whole game.
Never looked like scoring Man City, so Arsenal. So City will probably feel comfortable, and also the fact that they're just keeping clean sheets of fun at the moment. They barely concede a goal. The one goal they did concede in the last few games was Richarlison, where it came off the post and hit him. He didn't even score it. So. They got to say they're completely watertight at the moment.
And in terms of Arsenal, all this Mikel Arteta loving and Arsenal are doing so well, blah 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 blah. They've won 2 in their last 8 games.
Yes, they've gone back to what they were in the beginning, pretty much the beginning of the season.
But I don't get this narrative about Mikel Arteta and Arsenal and them doing so well. What is it all about?
Now, who says they're doing well?
Their fans are loving themselves at the moment. Their fans are like happy chappies right now. They think they're doing so much better than they are, and it just baffles me.
Look, they're 10th. I know they're only 2 points behind us, but the run we've been on, we've won 3 games in 12, and they're still below us when we have a game more to play as well. So that shows how bad they've been. You think we've been bad, they've just been on another level.
You get Arsenal fans trying to banter us, and they're doing even worse than us, so I don't know what they're on about.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go on to Manchester United against Newcastle, the penultimate game of the weekend. 3-1 to Manchester United. I went 2-0, you went 2-0. We both gained a point. 36-31. Bruno Fernandes. Enough said.
Another penalty.
Yeah, another assist.
Another assist. You got an assist, did he?
Yeah, he got an assist as well.
Oh, yeah, that little touch to Daniel James for the second goal. That was pretty decent. I know I watched the first half, and Newcastle by far the better team.
Really?
By far.
I never saw the game, so.
Yeah, Newcastle by far the better team in the first half. United got a goal because Rashford's shot forced a mistake out of Darlow, who should have saved it in the near post. It should have been saved, but it was a decent effort from Rashford. But that was against run of play, and Newcastle, when they equalised, was completely deserved. Say Maximam with a nice equaliser, and you thought maybe Newcastle could get something out of this game. They started with a very proactive approach, really pressing Man United, and they were struggling. But in the second half, United got their act together, started to dominate as they should have. I think maybe Newcastle were thinking, look, it's 1-1 in the second half, let's just try and hold what we have. Didn't work for them, and I think in the end United ran out deserved winners in the second half, but Newcastle probably will feel a bit annoyed that they didn't make their advantage in the first half pay.
Brighton against Crystal Palace, which was last night's game, the Monday night game. I don't know what the derby's called, but some M2 derby
or something.
It's not the M6, I'll tell you that, because that's the road into Manchester.
What was it, the M25?
M25, I think it is, yes. M25 derby, probably the worst derby in the league, that's for sure.
It's a very strange one, yeah.
Brighton 1, Crystal Palace 0. We both went 2 for Brighton.
Crystal Palace 2.
Sorry, Brighton 1, Crystal Palace 2. We both went for Brighton 2, Crystal Palace 1.
And it should have been. It should have been.
I didn't see the game last night.
Should have been, man. Brighton were all over him. Very similar to Brighton against Villa. Brighton had all the chances. Palace were on the ropes pretty much the whole. Well, I saw most of the second half, and Palace were completely on the ropes. And they held out, looked like they were going to scrape away with a point with the skin of their teeth, and then by literally last kick of the game, Benteke hits them with a sucker punch volley. Great volley.
95th minute goal, man.
Great volley as well by Benteke.
Apparently he's done that before against them as well. Scored a last minute winner.
Really? Well, I don't know, but he did that. He did that yesterday, and it was completely undeserved, completely against run of play. Brighton will feel completely hard done by, but that's football, and Palace fans go home happy. Well, they don't really go home, but they stay at home happy.
But look, Brighton, they can't really complain with the way this last couple of months have gone, because they've been in absolutely brilliant form.
Yeah, well, they did.
I guess they were due a loss, weren't they?
Yeah, I feel bad for them because it's just. I feel bad for Brighton because they played so well. Last 2 games they played really well against Villa and against Palace, and they've only got 1 point to show for it, and they deserved a lot more than that. And I'm sure they'll pick up more points from now to the end of the season. Yeah,
definitely. But look, that is it. That is it for the Premier League's perspective. We have reviewed the last 10 games. We'll be back for Predict the Prem just before the weekend. Scores on the doors at the moment are 36-31, so he has cut the gap to 5 points. I'm not going to speak for you, but you can tell me how excited you are or how happy you are to cut the gap.
Yeah, I'm content with it. I want more than 1 point closing the gap, so 1 point's not enough for me, but as long as the gap keeps closing, I'll be keep ticking
so many near misses of the 5 points this week.
Very close. Yeah, a lot of close. The 5 points are massive, which it's all about those 5 pointers, and hopefully I get a couple next week.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Tune in for Predict the Prem on Friday, where we'll be looking at the games and going through our predictions. And join us for our live watch along for the Wolfsburger second leg tomorrow evening, 5 o'clock kickoff. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.